For the longest time, I've been looking for the perfect writing instrument. The one pen or the one tool that I would bring with me all the time that checks all the boxes for everything I need. But the truth is, I haven't been able to find that. I've been able to find really luxury items and things for special occasions that I love using and have a really premium experience with. And I've certainly got my favourite pens when it comes to everyday things like writing morning pages or just getting all my notes out and marking things up. I also have my favourite things if I'm sketching something, if I have something that I want to capture down on paper. Or things that I just want to bring with me all the time that are maybe heavier duty and can take bashing in my pocket. But I've never found that single pen or that single thing that serves all of my use cases. So I broadly think there's about 6 different areas that writing instruments can fall within, and I think it's okay to have a favourite within each of those 6. I'm going to call out those 6 areas that I think that are most important, my favourites within each of those, and try and make some recommendations for you. How's it going, folks? My name's Marcus. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here on this channel, I like to talk about technology, EDC, and anything that can help you live a happier, balanced, more productive life. So let's get started. So the 6 different categories for the different pens or writing instruments that I think are available are budget-friendly basics, everyday writers, EDC everyday carry writers, special occasion masterpieces, desktop beaters, specialty tools. So let's start with budget-friendly basics. So in this category, these are the cheap versions, the pens that you don't mind if you lose. They're less than $5, but they have to be best in class. They have to be something that you really enjoy. And I'll jump to the chase. My top pick in this is the Uniball. I love this Pilot Uniball Vision Micro. It's the very fine point, and I've written with these I think for more than 10 years. So when you see the majority of my notes, when you see me scribbling in my journal or my notebook here, I'm actually usually using one of these during the day. Now I do make exceptions in the morning when I write my morning pages. I'm a little bit anal about having that with a fountain pen just because there's something magic about the feel. But in general, if you see me capturing notes or taking things down, certainly if I'm taking things down in my pocket notebook that I carry with me all the time, I'm using one of these Uniballs. You really can't go wrong with them. They're very cheap. They're like $2.50 to $3.50 depending on where you buy them. I buy them in packs of 10. In fact, one of my drawers is full of these Uniballs at the moment. And when I get down to like 5 left, I buy another pack again because I never want to be without them. I like them because you can see the ink that's left inside them. They're see-through to the point where you can see how much ink there is. The writing flow in them is very consistent. They never jam. I've never had any problems with them getting blacked up on me. And I usually get a lot of use out of one of these. I think the only area where these fall down for me is that one, I mean, it's in the budget-friendly basics, so I wouldn't expect it to look premium, but it definitely isn't a premium product. You can tell it is a biro. When it's in your pocket, sticking at the top of your pocket, you would definitely not confuse it with anything other than a cheaper pen. The second thing is the only place I've ever had problems with it is bringing it on planes. I don't like using these on planes, nor do I like using fountain pens because of the pressure that happens. And I have had these leak all over my hands and fingers on the plane. It doesn't happen every time, but it is one of the problems with this specific pen that I have seen places. If you don't want to get one of those, if you're looking for something that won't leak on a plane, I think the 2 best are either the classic Pilot G7 or Pilot G07. This is a thicker nib. These are about 0.5 nibs on these. This is a thicker nib. I also love how this writes. It's a gel type pen. Because it's gel, it doesn't tend to leak. It doesn't suffer from the same pressure problems on flights. But sticking this in your pocket, because it's a click top, sometimes it clicks down in your pocket. I prefer having a lid on it, which is why I go for the Pilot. Another honourable mention is the Pigma Micron 05. Even though it's called the 05, it says that the nib tip is actually 0.45 millimeters. So a nice fine felt tip on the top of it. I really like these. I don't press heavy when I write. These don't get bend. And I use these probably more for sketching than I do for writing, but also a lovely writer. So my budget-friendly pick, the Uniball, takes the lead. Which brings me on to the everyday writers. Now the budget-friendly pick for me actually blends into the everyday writers for me. So the Uniball is what I would consider an everyday writer, but there's some other things as well, and I mentioned them earlier. For me, also everyday writers are things like this, like the Lamy Safari. I've been using this for a really long time. I use them for my morning pages. I like writing with a fountain pen in the morning when I'm trying to capture my thoughts. There's something a little bit more, I don't know, premium and romantic about it. For some reason, I just prefer jotting down the things I'm thinking about with this than I do with my budget-friendly bargain. If you're new to writing with a fountain pen, if you haven't really tried it before or you've tried it and have kind of failed, I'd recommend you try it again with these Safaris because they're not expensive. They're less than $30, about $25 on Amazon, depending on the color that you want. You can get them in a variety of different nibs. You can get the thin, medium or thick. I've got the medium nib on this one, and I'd recommend that as a good starter because it's not a very scratchy fountain pen. If you do go for the finer point, even though typically I like to write with a finer point, as you know with all my other pens, this one I would say go with a medium because it flows better and it's just a nicer experience. And again, because I'm using this pen in that flow state in the morning where I'm kind of writing very quickly and getting my thoughts down onto the page, I like having the thicker pen and the smoother flow for that. But if you don't want to get a Lamy Safari, if you've tried one of those before, there's lots of other options. Parker have fountain pens, which are very kind of basic, straightforward, a step above the budget friendly. These are probably, again, less than $20, but there's a lot of options out there. You don't have to be stuck on one brand. So when I'm talking about everyday writers, you can bring those budget friendlies with you, or you can go for something a little bit more premium like the Safari or the Parker fountain pens. I just want to take a quick pause from the video to ask you to like and subscribe to this video if you're enjoying this content. I've got a very small channel, and you liking this helps the algorithm find me. Okay, back to the content. Which brings us on to the next part of the list, which is the everyday carry part. So again, either of those you could have as everyday carry. I know people who carry fountain pens as everyday carry. I know I certainly carry this with me in my pocket a lot of the time as everyday carry, and it's my budget friendly pick. But there are certain pens that are designed to be with you all the time. And for this, I've got a kind of a range from low end to real premium everyday carry pens. So on my low end, I've got this really small Olight O pen. They make this mini pen. It's nice and small. It writes pretty well. I don't even hardly notice I have this when I have it in my pocket. I don't carry it with me a lot, I'll be totally honest, but I have enjoyed carrying it with me the days that I do. It takes its own special ink that you can buy directly from Olight. Olight being a flashlight manufacturer, but they do a really nice job of creating this body. It has this nice machined aluminium body on it, and I think it's really nice. It's a nice budget friendly. It's got that nice click and hold in place. I think it's really cool. But if you're looking for something a little bit more premium than that, I could recommend these Bastien pens. Now these Bastien pens are sent to me directly by Bastien, not sponsored, just sent it to me for me to try out. And honestly, I've really liked them since they did send them to me. So they sent me an aluminium, a kind of an unfinished aluminium version. They all have these roller click in place. I think they call them bolt action pens, and they're kind of your classic EDC pen. And they have a more premium one here that has carbon fiber and steel. Again, a nice pen, and really enjoyable. The weight on that one is significantly hefty, so if you really want to know you have a pen with you in your pocket, that's a good one to bring with you. But these are just kind of a step up in terms of being more premium to have with you as part of EDC. For me, the most premium EDC you could have would probably be something like this Montblanc. I bought this used several years ago. I bought it in 2010 before I could afford to buy my own one new from a store, and this has got someone else's initials, AGG. So if you're AGG and you sold this on eBay in 2010, I've got your Montblanc pen. I carried this with me in my pocket for a very long time, and it's really dinged up and scratched. So I really made it my own. Everything that I have, I like to make my own, and I'm not precious about keeping things pristine. I don't carry fountain pens with me in my pocket just because I don't find them practical when you're on the go taking something out of your pocket and you might be out at a grocery store or something like that. But this is definitely something that I carried a long time. The irony of it is, though, I don't love the ink that you get with these Montblanc pens. So when you do buy the Montblanc cartridges, they're not actually the best writing experience for me, in my opinion. And I think you actually get a better writing experience from something like, at least for me, from the Uniball or from the G7. So it's kind of nice to know that you don't have to buy this really premium pen to carry with you everywhere, when these budget-friendly picks will do in your pocket all the time as well. The upside, though, of these everyday carry ones are you're not going to, with these roller balls, you're not going to have a problem on a plane. They're not going to leak everywhere. And if you want to spend $60, $80 on one of these Bastien pens, it really does look premium. The writing quality, the writing style, I really like it. The ink flows nicely in it, and you can't really go wrong. After that, though, I've got special occasions. So what are the pens that I have with me for special occasions, and what the hell is a special occasion? So sometimes there's times where you want to have a pen, and this is really sentimental, and lots of people won't get this and you'll criticize me for it, but there's definitely times, or I've had times in my life, where I wanted to have a pen where I was doing something significant and the signing of the thing was an important day for me. So those things include things like when you get married and you sign your marriage certificate, when you buy your house, your first house, and you sign that. And there's been several times when I've signed off on things like the birth of my kids, those things where I've decided to carry this pen with me or to use it for the signing of it and maybe take a picture of it. Even as I say it, I know it's a bit over the top, but you know what? I like doing it. It brings a little bit of joy to my life, so why wouldn't I do it? So for that, I've got this Montblanc Meisterstück. I featured it in a couple of videos before. It's Le Petit Prince, which means it's got a kind of a very ornate nib on the front of it. And I think I've gone for a fine nib on this also. So I typically do prefer a fine nib, except with the Safari. This is made from platinum, and it's got high premium resins and whatever they need to add to it to be able to charge $500 or $600 for a pen. One of the things that's really nice about this is it is one of the best writing experiences you'll ever have. If you've not written with an Montblanc and someone loves you enough to let you use theirs, I don't let people use my pen because it's set to my writing pressure, and if somebody presses too hard on it, there is a chance they can do damage and I'd have to repair the nib. But if you do get a chance to write with one, or if you can call into a Montblanc store and try one of their demo units, do it. I think you'll enjoy it. The nice thing about this is it has the option of using interchangeable ink cartridges that you can just put in the plug and play ones, or what I'm doing here where I use the Montblanc ink and you dip the nib in. Why don't I do it now? You dip the nib in and I'm going to get ink all over this page. So what you do here is you dip the nib in, you press it all the way down to get the ink out, and then you pull it back up, you draw the ink back in, and then let it drip. So there's a whole process to it, to how you charge the ink in this pen, how you refill it. It's not for the faint of hearted, but you know what? It's nice. It's just kind of part of the process. So in my top pick for that, I've probably given it away, but my top pick for the top premium products is a Montblanc Meisterstück or any of the Montblanc fountain pen range of pens. If this is too much, and I totally get it that you might not want to spend $500 or $600 on a pen. The one that I used for years as a kind of, I've wanted one of these pens for 15 years. The thing I used on the way is one of these Schaeffer's, Sheaffer, is also another well-known brand of fountain pen. I think I paid $60 for this back in the day. It doesn't quite have the premium, it's not made from platinum or silver or things like that. But the writing experience with this is very similar, and it just feels very premium as well. So you don't have to spend that crazy amount of money on the fountain pen to get what you need. You can get them for $50, $60 and you won't be sorry. So now for the rest of the video, I'm going to have ink on me. Awesome, premium pens. So the next section I want to talk about is specialty tools, and that's when you're doing things more than just writing notes, when more than you're just, getting your thoughts out on paper or pulling a pen out to write in your little notebook. And here I'm talking about technical pencils, clutch pencils, sketch pencils, and things like that. And the staple in this category is this Staedtler Mars Micro 0.5mm. I love these. Again, I've had this for the longest time. I used to do technical graphics back in school. When I was like 15, I used to on a big drawing board, and that's when I first started using these micros, and they've always been my clutch pencil of choice ever since then. So this is the kind of basic, cheapest version of that you can get. You can get really fancy looking clutch pencils like this pencil. This is the Pentel 0.5, which is made in Japan. It looks more like a classic pen. You can definitely EDC this, because this other one you can't carry in your pocket because it ends in a point and you'll very quickly end up with that in your leg. But this is how you would EDC a pencil. I think that, by the time you've put the lid on there and you clicked it out, it still looks like a premium pen, but it's fantastic for sketching those things out when you do want to sketch things. Another one that's good in this category, again going back to Bastien make a really chunky, really heavy steel pencil that instead of having a bolt action like the pens do, that's how you click the pencil lead out. And this is a 0.7mm version, so an even thicker nib. Wow, that is a chunky pencil, and it just feels really good in the hand. It just makes you feel like you want to sketch something if you want. I love that. Okay, anyway, if you're looking for a present for anyone for, upcoming holidays or for Christmas presents or whatever you celebrate, I think this is a great one, this clutch pencil. It's very chunky. It feels incredibly premium. I will have links in the description below, and I'm going to reach out to these. I will probably have a discount, so check. I'll have a discount code, likely 10% off or something like that with these companies that I've shown in here. I'll do my best to get the discounts for you. The last one here in this section for sketching is this Faber-Castell, and this is really thick. This is where you've got a chunky lead, and this is for just, you can write with it, but but this is doing very broad sketching. You can put in different, from HB through B leads into a B2, 3, 4 for the softer leads, and really do some sketching, shading and things like that. So I use this exclusively for when I'm sketching things out, like when I was designing this office space and I wanted to sketch out how things might look and then cut things out. This is the thing that I go to for that. So a premium experience from something that's not very expensive for that specific use case. Which brings me on to the last section, which is the pen that I have on my desk and the thing that I grab when I'm in a rush. And for me, that's this Refine pen. Now this is called the EP1 Refine pen. It's polished titanium. It's got a copper insert in it, so when you've got the click down, when you've got the bolt action, you can see that copper move in and out, and I love it. Couple of reasons I love this. One, it's really short. I like the small style in the hand. It's a very comfortable pen, but it's very, very weighty as well. The writing style on it is absolutely fantastic. It just flows. It's a really good pen, and it's a really good beater pen. Now I like this because it could fit a couple of different categories. This could be your everyday pen, it could be your EDC pen that you carry in your pocket, it could be your desk pen as well, but it's also a really premium product, and it's the first pen for me that kind of checks a lot of these boxes. I also got this PS1 spinner stand. So I should say Refine sent me this. They sent me this pen and they sent me this desk spinner. This is the PS1 desk spinner. They're not paying for a positive review. I don't owe them anything, but they just sent it to me to try. I get asked a lot by different companies now, would I try their products? And I just said yes to a few of these things that looked interesting to me. But I've had this on my desk for a month and I love it. The spinner's great because I am a fidgeter when I'm on a call. And this is basically like having a fidget spinner on your desk. So what you have here is a copper wheel attached to the base that spins independently on some nice bearings, and the pen just clicks in the top of it. So when you need it, I leave it right here next to my mouse, which is why it's the perfect desk pen. When I need it, pop it out. Also something I can fidget with on calls. Write down what I need with a classic, fantastic writer, and then pop it back in again, and don't worry about it. The kind of brushed titanium with the copper feel, copper mix is really classy. And again, a great gift for anyone who's into EDC or into writing with really classy pens. I can definitely stand over, they would enjoy getting something like that. Alright, so stepping back from it all though, what are the things you got wrong? I created these arbitrary 6 categories that I think these different writing instruments fall into, and what my favorite are within each. If you asked me to have one pen, and I could only have one pen to ever write with for the rest of my life, what would that be? And for me, would probably be, I know you're going to think the Montblanc because I spent all that money on it, but would probably be the Uniball Micro. This is just a classic. I use it all the time and I'd be lost without it. There are definitely pens I enjoy using more, but just because of how versatile this is. If I'm in search of perfection, I haven't found it, but if there's a pen that I'm going to probably use the rest of my life, it is these Uniballs, as long as they continue to make them. So what are the pens that you like to use? What are the different writing instruments? Where do you think I'm crazy and I've overspent? Or what are some of the beaters that I haven't considered, or the EDC pocket carry pens that I should have in my collection to make sure I'm getting the best benefit from it? Alright, hope you enjoyed this video. Good luck.